All right, guys, we are back again. I've mentioned here recently that I've been going live a lot, and I've made I've probably gotten about 9 to 10,000 new followers because of it. And but through all that, I've met so many cool people, and ones I've just become very friendly with, and I don't know, I just have this sense about me that I can just sense somebody's been through something. You can just sense. I don't know. I have some sort of like trauma sensor. I have no idea. But I never really know half these people's stories until I really get to know them later. And a lot of them just show up in my lives sporadically here and there. Hello, so and so. And through that, we started like a little support group thing on WhatsApp. And, I'm just starting to interview a bunch of them. And, they're becoming actual friends. I love what it's become because I really like just talking to people and just having a safe space because I think that we're all at different stages at at a point in our lives, and some are further than others, but it's okay because it's like we can just get each other through the toughest times. And life life is challenging for all of us, but we find ways to manage. And we've all been struggling even recently, and you know we get through it somehow. So, but it's just, I think it's, for me personally, it's comforting just to know that there's others out there who are struggling, and that they'll get through it just like I will, and we'll get through it together. So anyway, so one of those people is this person. She goes by Miss Cinnamon Twist on TikTok, and she's popped in. She was always super friendly to me, and became friendly, and here we are. So would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Yes. Hello. I am on TikTok, Cinnamon Twist, but my name is Shannon Bagby, and I am 44, a Libra, and I currently reside in Virginia. Um, I A little bit about me. I was diagnosed um, with fibromyalgia in like 2018, but started having symptoms around 2017. And so I've kind of gone through a lot of ups and downs and trials with medicines and supplements and all these things to maintain the pain and all the stuff that goes along with that. And as well as like the brain fog and um, like kind of the ups and downs with hormones and emotions and all that stuff. Yeah, so that's a little bit about that.
No,
So,
we share different disabilities, but we share a lot of similarities. And like, I feel like I've turned myself in just like to a human experiment because I'm constantly, whether it's for brain fog or anxiety or depression or probiotics, different things. I try all these different things just to try to salvage what's going on, because like brain fog is one of my most frustrating things that I suffer from, and it's not the most severe by any means, but
yeah.
it keeps me from really accessing my brain and just being who I want to be. And I struggle through it with going live or doing videos or doing this podcast, where it's like I know what I'm trying to say, I know the word I'm trying to access, but I can't get to it, and I'm trying everything. And doctors will say, they'll look at your brain, they'll be like, "Oh, you're fine, you're fine," and oh, that pisses me off.
Oh, yeah.
So how does, and I've have friends who have fibromyalgia, but just for you personally, how does it affect you? Whether it's daily or like when you have what's a good day and a bad day for you?
So some of the major things that happen with the fibro, um, it so I a lot of times I will have high energy and I will want because so I have ADHD as well. I just recently got diagnosed in my late 40s, so I'm late diagnosed. So I've always
Congratulations.
thanks a new diagnosis. But it makes a lot of sense. So because of having that, I and perfectionism, like I like am gung ho excited, and like my hyper focus goes very crazy. I will go and like want to do all the activities and get involved and be social, and then I will feel absolutely drained. So I have to like recover, and like my recovery period from that is much longer than most people. So like the energy that is exuded through these activities like they are more intense for me because it's like trying to balance that, like wanting to do stuff, but knowing that if I do these things, that I will have to pay for it and have it, well, dealing with that. But a lot of the issues will be like with body aches and pains. And then also too, another thing that occurs is like if I am a little bit too emotional, like that affects me. And then I start having like my joints hurt. I'm exhausted. I have to like lay in bed. My appetite is like sometimes to a minimal. And so that just like all these things to function as a human being, like affect like the functioning within the next few days. So
Yeah, that's the fluctuation. Like the never knowing. I mean, I say that with the mental health or my vision. Like it's the same thing in its own way, where you can go to bed feeling amazing and then wake up the next day and everything is upside down, and or
yeah,
just happens randomly through the day where you were in a good mood and then
yeah,
um and it's just that constant fluctuation. You don't know, and you're like, how do I prepare for something that I don't know what's coming? um and I did a video about it recently where it's just you have this thing where you go through so many bad health days in a row, and in your head you're like, all I want to do is get back to my normal, even if my normal is still shit. I want to get back
yeah,
to that because that is me. But then when you're in that place, it's usually when your mental health or something else is acting up, so you never really get a chance to celebrate it. And then
oh yeah,
as you're in the midst of trying to climb out of these days where you're having bad health days, you're like, okay, if I could just get there, and then just a little progress. Give me a little progress today, God, and then you get a little progress, and the next day it seems like it either got worse or didn't get better. So then you feel like that's a step backwards, and eventually, after all your might and effort, and eventually things get better, but you're so worn out from the battle because it lasted a week. You're like, I don't have enough to celebrate. So you're just like mentally and
yeah,
physically exhausted.
yeah, exactly.
So I
It's
mean,
rough.
yeah, I went through that recently with my eyes, and it's just I just told myself
Mm,
if I can get there, I'll be much happier. And then I got out of it, and I just was like, I don't even know what I'm happy about. Like my eyes are better, but now I'm
mm,
depressed. It's like,
yeah,
uh, and look, at the end of the day, every day is a blessing. We're glad we're still here. But some days really, especially when they start to pile up like that, it takes a toll on
oh yeah,
you. Now,
definitely does.
is fibro, is that something you're diagnosed with? Like, is that something you're born with, or is that something happen at any point in your life?
Okay, so it's very interesting. Everybody has their own experiences, how they get to this point. For me, I believe the moment that like it kind of showed up in my body was that I was like in a relationship that wasn't going well and progressively had gotten like worse, and I wasn't doing good, like my mental health, and it was very chaotic, and just constantly like a lot of fighting, and so just when my mental health like plummeted to a very, very deep point, my body said, well, this is a little bit too much for us, and we're just not going to function anymore.
Hmm.
So that was in like 2017, and that was probably at the like lowest point for the relationship and the situation. And so um, what started happening is at the time, my daughter was about three at the time, maybe a little bit older. And so she still needed to be picked up. She still needed to be picked up, held, and also come to find out later on, like during this time, I wasn't sure what was going on with her. And to find out later on that she autistic, ADHD, and intellectual disability, and then also too a rare genetic disorder, which I didn't understand at the time. understand what was going on. So she needed a lot more attention and care and nurturing. And also, I was nursing on top of that. Um, and so my body, I couldn't pick her up. I couldn't lift her. I couldn't get out of bed. Like, cooking was like a horrible task for me because I had to grip the like utensils and I couldn't. I lost like functioning in my fingers. I would have these like lightning bolt strikes like all over. It felt like I was just like kind of being stabbed, kind of like all over my face, just everywhere. So my body was just kind of like shutting down, and I wasn't able to function. And I just like went to the doctor, and um, they're like, "Well, we're not sure what's going on with you. Like, we'll run some tests, but like, I don't know, maybe you're just tired or you just have anxiety." And I'm like, I just can't function. I'm like, I don't want pain medicine. I'm like, I'm not trying to push that. You know, I just want to help this like nerve pain that I'm having. So I know this is nerve stuff. And so they ended up giving me gabapentin for that. But then like, well, in order to get diagnosed with fibro, you have to schedule like a rheumatoid arthritis specialist.
Mm.
And so they're the only ones so far that have the ability to diagnose, but like the appointment was a year out. And I'm like, I felt so like disappointed and let down because I'm like, I have to wait a year to like, I'm having to suffer through this, um, and I'm having to raise my kid and go through a breakup and have them move out, and just trying to like figure this whole situation out. And so eventually I went, he's like, yeah, you have fibro. Like he did all the tests and it's very simple. Like I felt like a normal doctor could have done that, but it's like, do you have this point? Is this point sore? Is this point sore? Yeah. Is this point here? Here are your symptoms. Yeah, you have fibro. And it just, there's no blood work kind of test. There's nothing that's definitive. And so, which is very perplexing and confusing, I think, for a lot of people, I think in the community. But eventually they put me on Cymbalta, and so, as well as gabapentin. And so I went from like, you know, the fluctuation of emotions, but then with those, it made me very flat and just kind of numb and flat with that kind of stuff. So it's like, okay, my pain's better, but like my humanness kind of like zipped
Yeah, I call it
away
like
from me.
mental Botox. You just got no emotion.
Yeah, little mini lobotomy. um, and so like with that, 'cause it's helpful, you know what I mean? People need, you know, will depend on medicine to help them. And so then I found out like my anxiety just got also like 1,000 times worse. And one of my passions or like side hobby passions is genetic stuff. And I had read that people who have like high producing dopamine tend to not do well with Cymbalta. So it kind of like makes them more anxious. And then I'm like, okay, well, what do? I have this anxiety. Well, let's get on some Buspar. So I'm having like all these medicines that like I'm on to kind of like satiate these other side effects with it.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, it's been an interesting journey, to say the least with this. So.
Yeah, see, Buspar, I didn't give it enough time because it was causing like major insomnia. So I stopped taking it. There was a point where I was so drained, I had no energy, and
yeah,
I had to go to the ER because I was just like, I remember one day I woke up and it was like 9 a.m. and I had just laid there I fell asleep for like an hour and a half, and I just lay there the rest of the night, and I just put my hand up. I'm like, I guess it's time to get up, and I just had no energy to get up, and I'm like, this day is gonna suck. And
yeah.
So I had to get I had to get trazodone because I'm like, I can't do this.
Something.
So this is just terrible. So yeah, eventually I started sleeping better, but yeah, and it's not good when you're constantly mixing all these medications because one fixes this but causes something else, and you take something for that which causes something else. It's just like it's like a whack-a-mole thing where you just you push one thing down, another thing pops up, and you go over there, or it's like when you're like trying to change your sheets and there's always the bottom sheet, the one corner pops up and you're on the other side and you're like, oh, come on.
Yeah. You're like, come on, guys.
Come on. Like, no. But
Yeah.
it's like I said, that fluctuation too, and just the inconsistencies, and so I mean, like anyway, so they have they. So I mean, how are your symptoms? I mean, I know you have bad days, but what what
Yeah.
what is there a huge difference from bad days now from before?
Yes, actually. So, because of all the stuff going on with the medicine, because I feel like medicine works for some people and others it doesn't. So everybody has to gauge kind of like what works for them. Fast forward, about like sometime last year or the year before, um, where I was living before, it was a very hot climate, and I was profusely sweating and very like my mental health was very low. And so later on, I found out that I was experiencing like serotonin syndrome from all the effects of the medicine, and I felt that the combo of medicine wasn't working for me, so I was like slowly tapering off of them. And which definitely everybody should like work with a doctor to do that in a safe manner. So please, I recommend that.
Okay.
But the side effects of getting off the meds were just absolutely horrendous because you'll just have the same body zaps and like it's just a bad withdrawal, the
Yeah.
meds. But so I went on the journey of, like I said earlier, about genetics and how certain things worked. So I had the raw data from my 23andMe. And so I wanted to see like how certain supplements could possibly work with my genetics. And so I started doing more research about that and found more supplements that were helpful. Um, so I started taking one called N-acetylcysteine, and that was for like the not only for like obsessive compulsive kind of like thought process, like skin picking issues that I was also dealing with, but it helps with body pain. And then I started looking, finding a couple more different supplements, phosphatidylserine, and then lithium orotate, which is a natural occurring lithium in nature, not the one that you get from like the doctor.
Right.
And also, what's the other one called? TMG. So that I added that later on. So with those, I have found that my pain and the brain fog and just all the aches and pains and like the fatigue has been so much less. And so I think when the mental stuff, obviously because it's a nerve like issue that happens, and obviously the brain's full of nerves.
Right.
So I feel like that has kind of calmed that down a bit. And so I do have my days where like it takes me, it's like a social situation I just had. It takes me 3 to 5 business days to recover, sometimes still.
Right.
But my pain that I was having is not as bad.
What's the one?
And
What's the one that you think helped the most with the brain fog?
for me, it is the phosphatidylserine. So that's supposed to be helping for the cognitive memory.
Right.
The one I take has like ginseng, rosemary, gutacola, and DMAE. I think that's the name of it. But I really feel like my brain's a little bit more. Sometimes it's a little bit too on. So
Well, send me a picture of that. Maybe I'll buy some.
yeah, of course.
Because that's well, and, as they say, everything trickles down from the top, right? So your brain is the top,
Yeah.
and when that shit's out of whack, I mean, I don't know about you, but like, I've sat there and overthought about and overanalyzed something, and especially when it comes to health issues, I'll convince myself of one thing, and my
Yeah.
brain almost tells my body to be like, okay, now pretend like you have cancer. And now
Mm,
every cancer, I used to do this with like STDs, right? Like I would be with somebody, and it didn't matter if I wore protection or not. It was like I would just sit there and obsess about it to where then like I would have
mm,
burning or I'd have different things, and then I would go to the urologist, and they would go, "There's nothing wrong with you. You can come back tomorrow if you
yeah.
want, but your insurance is gonna be pissed. But
Yeah.
you're fine. I promise you." And I just did that with everything. I convinced myself I had a detached
Mm,
retina, like. And your brain will make you feel like you have everything, like everything will go with it, and it's like man, like that's why it's like so key about taking care of your brain, because if you don't, it will
Yeah.
literally just it'll attack the rest of the body, and the body will just do whatever it says. I mean, it literally has control over the body. So please,
Yeah.
be careful, because like I said, if
Yeah.
you're not taking care of your brain, man, there's a couple of spots on you: your heart, your brain, your spinal cord. There's certain things you just do not want to mess with. Your brain is
Nope.
one of them.
Yeah, I can like literally feel, like I'll feel it be go out of my system. So like I'll take it in the morning, maybe about like 7:30. I'll take my supplements. So I take them morning and night, and I'll take them, and then right around there's like a prime time, which is about 5:30, and I'm like, oh, my supplements are off. I'm obsessively compulsively thinking about things, and my brain won't get off this merry-go-round. And I'm like, I apologize for my heightened emotions and my obsessive neurotic thoughts. Like,
Yeah.
sorry guys.
Well, I mean, again, that's why I like having so many people around with all these different conditions and things, because it puts another thing into perspective, right? Like, you don't know what it's like to have visual issues, and I don't know what it's like to have fibromyalgia, but there are a lot of similarities in ways, especially when it comes to having bad days. It's just our days look differently, but they're still bad nonetheless, and
Yeah,
the thoughts a lot of times are similar. There's a lot of similarities between it, and it's like I said, if you're having a bad physical day, but you're having a good mental day, which is really hard to do. I mean, for me, it's a
yeah,
guarantee. It's 100%, or at least a 99.9% chance that if I'm having a bad visual day, I'm gonna have a bad mental day.
yeah,
But if you can somehow push through it and keep yourself going, and I don't know, find a show that entertains you or something that makes you go, oh man, I can't wait for tomorrow. That's awesome, because it takes away some of the pain. It takes away some of the just agony that you're in, whether it is physically or mentally. It takes
oh
away
yeah,
from it some, and it because if you're constantly looking at like, man, I have it the worst, you gotta, if you can just picture that there's someone out there that has the same even condition as you. You can down to the T. You're like, they have the same exact type. They're a woman. They're this, same age, same height, and yet they have it worse than me somehow. They can't
yeah,
move at all, or whatever it is, right? And like for me, some people are totally blind. Like I met someone, the last person I interviewed, she had Steven Johnson syndrome, but she lost some of her mobility because of it, and I did not. But
mm,
everything else was exactly the same. And
yeah,
and it's like, damn, man, like even the days that I feel sorry for me, it's valid, but at the same time, man, it's like, man, there's moments where I shouldn't probably be here, and walking and all
yep,
these things. Like there's a lot of things that could have been, out of the cards for me. Right now everything is pretty functional minus my eyes. So yes, it sucks. And I do think, I also think there are some days, sometimes we just need to have a day where we just throw ourselves on the couch and go, fuck it. I don't want to
yeah,
do I don't want to do anything. I got to feel sorry for myself today, cuz it's going to
yeah,
make me get up stronger tomorrow, cuz I'm going to be pissed at
yeah.
myself that I wasted a whole day just being sad.
Well, I think what happens in society is that we have this pressure to perform, to achieve, to do, to be like constantly go, and our worth and our value is in that. And so if we like, I will talk to a lot of my friends, and I'm like, and they're like, oh, I feel so lazy. And I'm like, I understand that you want to get these things done and push yourself, but also too, like sometimes, like if you think about in a game, like your character points are down. You got to level up. Your health points. So sometimes you got to stay put just a little bit longer, and to like refresh like refresh your screen, or like re up your health points, because even resting, you're actually doing something productive for yourself.
Yeah.
And so it's either like you don't watch a show, but you're not being lazy because you are healing yourself and you're taking that moment, you're processing. And maybe you don't feel like processing because, like, when we're having these health related issues, it is draining on our hearts, minds, bodies, souls, etc. And we get into that like headspace of like you start feeling sorry for yourself, and then something, inevitably like kind of pulls you out of that to kind of be like, okay, I can get through this. I can get over this journey. And it may not be like I will do all the things, but I'll take one tiny inch and one tiny step to get pushed through, to get like past that point.
Yeah.
And like in regards to when you were talking about like people have it worse or have a little bit more of a struggle, that's very really lovely point that you bring up, because I had a friend, rest in peace. Her name was Nanette. And when I met her, she passed away in September of last year. And when I met her, she had was semi healthy, and then her health started going downhill very fast. And she had fibromyalgia and a lot of issues with her feet, and just she was diabetic, and just a lot of going on with her. And so me being very healthy at the time, I pushed her, because we'd go out and hang out. And I'm like, come on, you can do it. She's like, I really can't. And I'm like, come on, like, let's go shopping, and like, let's go do makeup. And so like, there were moments where I didn't have patience, or I wasn't as compassionate or empathetic towards her pain. And I tried to be understanding, but then fast forward years later, here is my diagnosis of fibro. And then I had a conversation with her, and I said, you know what? I am so sorry. I am so sorry that I did not hold space and have compassion and understanding for you during that time. And I understand now. And I think that's the thing with, sometimes because we've never experienced that level, it's hard for us to put ourselves in those shoes or those situations and have the patience and compassion for other people. So we shouldn't wait till we're injured or have the same symptoms to have that, but like to extend grace to other people is important. So I learned that was a very hard lesson. I didn't want to have to learn that way, to be nice,
Right.
And to be kind, but like it really kind of humbled me, kicked me down a few notches. But it was important because it helped me treat people a whole lot differently.
Yeah. Empathy
So,
is hard to come by some days, man.
yeah.
You don't see a lot of, that's part of what's going on in the world. You don't see a lot of empathy.
Yeah.
It's like, my plight versus your plight. Your plight's not worse than mine. So get out of my way. And it's like,
It's not a competition.
No, it's not. It's not. And a lot of it is about perspective, because I've talked to people who have things that I considered worse than mine, and they'll say, nah, man, I'd rather have my sight. And it's like, okay, I guess it's just a perspective thing, because to me, I would rather have very little sight than be, whatever, deaf or in a wheelchair or whatever it is. And they'll say the opposite. And, to some people, their eyes is everything. To me, I don't know. I don't remember a time when my eyes was something, because I was 4. So, yeah. And so it's really hard to be grateful. And I think, I haven't talked about this a whole lot, but like, I'm trying to get this surgery in New York, and there's a chance that it could work. And I really don't know how to fucking feel about it. Like, because there's obviously the cynical part, right? Where it's like, well, it ain't going to work, or it's going to get worse or whatever. Right. But there's the other part where I'm like, what if this works? What does that mean for me? Like, because I still struggle with mental health a lot. And yes, it'll make my life a lot easier. And there's going to be a big part of me that's like, fuck, man, I'm so grateful. Like, my God, look what I had. Look what I didn't have, because I don't know what perfect vision is like. I just know what my good days and my bad days are. So when people ask me, like, what's it like being legally blind? I go, I don't know, because you don't see like me, and I don't see like you. So I have fucking no clue. So the idea of getting my vision back is like trippy, or getting some of it back, just more. It's like, what the hell would that be like for me? What is it? I know I won't forget where I came from, but I don't know. So I'm just trying to take it all in and let it just, again, I'm not trying to focus on it too much, because again, the surgery's still far away, and it's not even set up yet. So I don't want to get my head in this space where I'm ungrateful for even 3% better. For me, I guess my whole thing is just about maintaining. Like, if I can just have my good days, even though they're not good, If I can keep that,
Yeah.
that's fine. But I know as you get older, things get worse. And I don't
Yes.
need things to get worse because things are already worse. So
Yeah.
it's just trying to preserve and keep everything together. And um, yeah, and like I said, that fluctuation. So it, I don't know. I don't know about you, but like I there are times where I dream about a better time, better life, better health, and I go,
Yeah.
I would love that, but there's also a part of me that goes, I don't even know if I know how to accept it.
Yeah. Well, that's also like we have these excuse me, these identities that we have built up, like these lives surrounding these chronic illnesses. And it's like if you're able to have something different, like who are you outside of this chronic illness? How do you navigate that and like this new way of doing things? And like you said, like you don't know what it's going to be like how you're going to handle that if you are able to see more, and like how will that also affect your mental health? You know,
Mm-hmm.
I can see, and it's like the same thing too. Like when I am feeling better, like okay, now I'm navigating this new way of I can do more, and then I'm like shit. Sorry, shoot.
No, you can say shit.
um,
I said fuck earlier. You're fine.
like I still have to remember, like, yes, I have this extra energy, but like I still have to be very cautious about this. So it's just very interesting, navigating that whole like the ebbs and flows and the changes, and I think maybe even too like having that support system, like by your side when going through a transition like that, you
Sure.
know.
Yeah.
So how?
No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean that's the craziest thing about mental health too is that you could be in a room full of people and still feel alone. So
Oh yeah,
you know that there are plenty of other people with fibromyalgia, but even when you find people, you're like, well, they're not me. They didn't go through my experience. And you'll keep moving the goalposts because you're like, well, I haven't met any women with it. And then you realize, oh, no, okay, there's a woman. Oh, okay, yeah, but she's not the same ethnicity or whatever. You just keep changing it. And it's like, no, you're just, there are plenty of people out here. I mean, I had to find out the hard way, which is people just were coming in and direct messaging me and just be like, hey, man, I go through the same thing. And yeah, my head still tries to tell me otherwise, but it's like, nah, man, like, I mean, sometimes you really have to have like full on arguments with yourself because it's just idiocy because
oh yeah,
you're not alone. You're not by any means. And even if maybe they have MS, they don't have fibromyalgia or they got lupus or something else, something, similar in some ways. They still go through a lot of the similar things that you do. So it's just convincing yourself. And regardless, I mean, I don't even know why we're so concerned with being alone. Because sometimes when you have too many people around, it's chaotic. And
yeah. Too many hands in the hen house. So
yeah, too many opinions and, and when
well,
go ahead.
it's just extending ourselves. It's like we want community and we want to have that connection with other people, but it's also like setting up boundaries for yourself. I had a friend of mine talk about like, why do you feel that you need to give yourself to that situation when you don't have the capacity to do that? Like, why do you feel so obligated? Because these people can figure it out on their own. That's their job. And it's not your job to like kind of fix
Yeah.
and this kind of situation. But it's also too, it's like when you're the personality type of a fixer or a mediator and stuff like that, that who helps you when you're overextending yourself. And that, because that's why I'm thankful, like for your kindness and this little group that you have, through WhatsApp, like to be able to have different people to bounce stuff off and like that support.
Yeah.
And like to me, that's so valuable.
It is. I mean, that whole saying of, well, a couple sayings, be the change that you want to see, but also if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. And
Yeah.
I didn't have that when I was a kid. I'm trying to just be the friend I never had because I grew up just with no one. And
Yeah.
just, I didn't necessarily have imaginary friends, but I had my stuffed animals or a pet or my toys and music and things. So I didn't really have anybody. And then once you get older and puberty kicks in and all these things, you're like, oh, girls. And then you start dealing with rejection and, and then of course all you do is self-reflect on yourself because it's like, oh, it's got because I'm ugly and because my eyes are broken. And, it just gets worse and worse and it escalates. And now that I'm in a place where that isn't the case and, you get enough compliments and from people and you start to just develop your own confidence and you're like, all right, fine. I'm not bad. Cause it's like, I've been single for a while and I'm not going, you know what? It's because no one thinks you're attractive. It's like, that's not true. It's just I'm not settling for bullshit. And so
exactly.
You start to change your mindset. You do. And anyway, to bring it back around, it's like, I just had to stop waiting for someone to come save me and stop trying to wait for someone to come do it for me and just be like, I guess I just got to do it. I don't know how to fucking do it, but I'm gonna do it. And I had already started a support group with Megan, who's in the group, one in person. And then I'm like, I don't know, let's just try this and stuff like that. Like, it's important to me because I know there's so many people that just need just a friend. Yeah.
I totally agree. Because like this life, like you said, you can be in a room full of people. And the thing is, I find it very fascinating that in dealing with people, that there are these societal expectations, standards, rules, kind of whole, like in a box that you kind of have to fit into. And so like when you don't fit into that and you're having these interactions with people, it's like you get kind of disappointed because it's like people will be like, hey, how are you? And they actually don't want to actually know how you're doing.
Right.
And so, which kind of, you're like, oh, okay. So it leaves you with like, kind of like also rejection, but like having a space to be able to feel safe enough where people actually care and actually find intrinsic value in providing that support for others, like, is absolutely valuable, and it's hard because like we get so busy, we get so like self-focused and on our own lives and like we exist in our own bubbles, but then it's like, okay, wait, there's other things outside of that do need to be addressed. And so like finding that little space that feels like comfortable and safe is amazing.
What I think one thing I like about it is like everyone kind of has something different too, where it's like, in a way, I think that does make it better and makes it easier to not feel alone because you're like, oh, it just kind of hammers the point. Like, okay, yeah, like there are other people going through similar shit. It's not the same thing, but they get it. Like, they'll, we'll all say something and someone will be like, oh man, I feel that. And it's like, well, how do you feel that? You don't have fibromyalgia. You're not blind. And it's like, oh, okay. Like it's in a way like finding someone that mirrors you exactly. Like that's great. That's comforting. But I think sometimes it almost just kind of makes you just feel like you're just talking to yourself or, it just brings up more trauma and, whatever.
Yeah.
But when you meet someone else who's going through something horrific, but is totally different from what you're going through, but similar in its own ways, it's like, oh, okay. All right. So yeah, you do get it. Even though you don't entirely get it, you get it. And like I said, that makes me feel good because there's a lot of things you guys, like, the other day or like a month ago, y'all were just talking about your menstrual cycles and things. And I couldn't get into that, but I was listening, like I was fascinated by it because then I started going like, damn, like, thank God I'm not a woman. Not that like in a sexist way, but like, man, I thank God I don't gotta, and it makes me grateful that I don't have cramps and things. It's like, like it's so, you get so caught up and wrapped up in your own bullshit. Like, man, it sucks being legally blind or whatever your thing is. And then you find out like, man, like, oh, I don't wake up with cramps in the morning. Like, that's pretty damn cool. Like it's just, and it just, like I said, talking to you, it makes me grateful to not have what you have and not in a way like, oh, thank God I'm not her. Just, it makes me grateful that there's some things like I said, when I have so many issues, but there are a lot that I don't have. So, and the same for you. Like, yeah, it doesn't take away from what we're going through. It just makes you grateful and it helps you to get through those really dark storms where you're like, man, I don't think I'm ever getting out of this.
Yeah. So, like, one thing I love, and not that I like learning about other people. And so, like, within this group, there are people with different complex situations that I've never even heard of. And what's actually fascinating was when I was doing like my genetic, like I was looking up a couple different people's genetic profiles, and like just I'm a nerd. Like when I deep dive, I deep dive really deep. To the
Nerd.
abyss. Uh, Nerdiness. Yeah, I love it. Give me some science. Um, so, but I love that stuff. And so, but in that process of searching, actually, I had just read something about one of someone's genetic marker that had the Steven Johnson syndrome.
Right.
That could be a possible, just to be like a precaution. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then when I met you and like learning about that, I'm like, wow, like so fascinating. But like it's teaching me about all these different issues. And that's like the same thing when you're talking about the menstrual cycle. You may not know, but guess what? Now you have education about what these people are experiencing, and you could possibly take that information and use that and help other people.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of society's biggest problems is just people are ignorant. There are a lot of people
Yeah.
that don't even mean any harm. They just don't know how to approach you, and they're so uncomfortable with it themselves that instead of being like, "Hey, I'm just super curious on what's going on. I see something," and however they want to put it, and instead they'll approach you, and you see it even in my lives where they'll be like, "Yo, what's wrong with your eyes?" And it's like, dude, like,
I've seen that.
do you not realize like it's ignorant? And they'll be like, what? It's just a question. It's like, yeah, but it's an ignorant question because. And I try to flip it on them. Like, what if your mom was in a wheelchair and I walked up to her and go, yo, what up with the legs? Like, think about it in the terms of somebody you love. Forget me. Forget any stranger. Think about it somebody you're with. What if you're a woman, let's say, because a woman did it to me one day, and I'm like, what if you were having weight issues, and I walked up to you and go, yo, you need to stop eating. Like,
Mm,
how would that feel to you? And it's like
yeah.
in putting it in in something that would affect you, it should change your perspective. Because I was a dumb kid, like we all were. Sure, we all went into like I guess this is gonna date you and I, but like AOL chats and say stupid, silly things and lie about your
Oh
age
yeah.
or whatever. But I would have never gone into somebody's room and be like, "Yo, your eyes are atrocious." Like I'd have never done
Yeah.
that to somebody ever, because my
No.
mom would have whooped my ass, and I would have felt sorry because I have a guilty conscience.
Well, like that stuff always comes back. Like if you're a jerk, it comes back to you. So I don't
Yeah.
want it to come back.
No, Karma's a bitch, and she's shown up in my life many times, and
Yes. Me too.
I don't need her whatsoever.
You're like, all
Whatsoever.
right, mercy, mercy.
Yes. All right. Like uncle, I'll let go. I got it. All right. You just please get out of my ass right now. I am done. I don't need you just poking me anymore. Yeah.
Yes.
And I guess, and look, as much as you would like to blame the youth, it isn't just them, and it's not the youth's fault. It's the generations before them, including ours,
Yeah.
and previous generations who failed them. It's just we just don't promote the right thing, like respect. And like I said, I'm as I'm sure you are. Like we're very open minded people. I'm open to discussing anything. Like I get it. My eyes stand out, and some people go, "Oh shit, what's wrong?" I get it. That's fine. Cool. You're curious. Just after a while, like realize that I'm just like you or anyone else. Like we're people. We have
Yeah.
feelings, and we don't. We are not defined by one part of us. We are built. We are a microcosm, or we're this culmination of all these things, and the eyes or fibromyalgia is just a small microcosm of who we really are. And
Oh yeah.
yes, I mean, in a way, it's a big part, but it depends how you look at it. Because to me, I look at it like my eyes are just this, you know, it's a thing. It exists. But so does everything else that I am. And I think so many people get caught and put into boxes and have labels put on them, and they don't know how to fight their way out of it. And I've had to fight my whole life just to get the disabled tag off me. Not in the sense that I don't want people to think I have a disability, but the sense that I'm a poor little disabled man, and that I can't live on
Yeah.
my own. Like things like that. Like you're a mom, you're a woman, you're funny, you're smart, you're a beautiful person. You got a lot going for you, And yeah, you have fibromyalgia. Yeah, you've been through some trauma and some things, and that is that. Like, I always talk. We talk about, like, in the disability community, is like third person, way of speaking, where you just say or person first. Excuse me, where you say, I am not a disabled person. I'm a person with a disability, because you have to stress that you're a person first, because the
Yeah.
disability does not come before that. Nothing does.
Like, you are a person who has this, but you are more than just that. There's like your whole situation encompasses like like there's so much depth and complexity to us as individuals, and
Yeah.
it's like that doesn't define us.
No, not at all. Not at all. And nor should it. And like I said, there's people that we live in this world now where it's like, if you did something many years ago, that's who you are now. Like, it's like no one has growth.
Yeah.
No one's allowed to just be different. No one's allowed to learn from their experiences, and life didn't change them. Like, I've made many changes throughout my life. I'm different from
Yeah.
last year. So
Oh yeah.
and the fact that somebody said something, it's like, oh, you're homophobic because you said that 30 years ago. It's like 30 years is a long time. You might want to check. That person may just be a much better. And again, maybe they're still a piece of shit. I don't know. But, I don't, like, if you're an addict to me, like, I know, once an addict, you're always an addict. But, like, I don't look at you as somebody, like, if you're like, hey, I'm 10 years sober, I'm not going to be like, oh, shit, he's going to raid my fridge. Like,
Yeah.
it's all about what you're doing right now. And, just because you have a disability, or you've whatever it is that you've gone through, it just doesn't define you. It's a part of you. You'll never get rid of it. You'll, like,
Yeah.
if you once were homeless, like, yeah, that goes on your resume. But at the same time, it's not something that should deter somebody from ever talking to you, or whatever it is,
Yeah.
So I think we try so hard now, just we put labels on people and we just throw them away, and we give up on them, and just like, this is who they are. This is, and I don't think enough of us push back loudly enough, or we go, no, man, fuck that. I'm not, blind TJ. You're not, chronically ill, Shannon, like that shit, because that shit will stick if you allow it. And people that'll follow you your whole life. You will just be that poor little sickly person in the room. And I've been the blind guy in school. I've been the blind guy at work. I've been the blind guy in many places I went. And then I realized, I was like, no, fuck that. Like, that's kind of where a lot of the colorful outfits and shit come from, because it's like, it's me kind of like going, look, yeah, I'm legally blind, but I can still dress. Like, I can still match my outfits, and I'm a colorful person, and like, this is just another part of me that, like, you can say, like, oh man, having messed up eyes is tough, but it's like, I'm gonna try to make it look as cool as possible. I'm gonna try to make it look like, hey, yes, you can have this and still thrive and have a good time. You're gonna have some bad days, but you're still gonna have fun. And it throws people off, because they're like, well, I don't get it. If you can't see, which I never tell people I can't see entirely, but it's like, if you can't see, why is your shirt yellow and your pants yellow? And, it's like, because, there's, and even if I was totally blind, there's workarounds with that. There's color readers and things. So I could still do it even if I was totally blind. And for me, I see so many people in our positions where they give up, and they just kind of carry themselves very droopily, and they're just like, I don't even know if droopily is a word, but we're gonna use it. Where they're just dragging ass their whole life, and they're just like, hey, how are you doing? You're like, oh, I'm fine. It's like, you all right? Like, you're alive? Are you good? Nah, I guess. Okay, I muted it then. I just muted it just in case. But anyway, yeah, man. And I see so many of us with disabilities, unfortunately, who just, they're not the best representations, because they haven't gotten over that shame, and they haven't gotten over the embarrassment that they feel when people stare at them or say things. And I get it. I've been there, so it's not a judgment thing on my end. It's more or less, I just hope it motivates people, regardless of your disability or not, whatever disability you have. Like, I want you to feel like, man, you can still live a life, man. It may not be as comfortable as some. It may not be like, like everyone else's, but that's okay. It's one of the things that makes you different. And I don't know, just like I said, you gotta try to remove the shame, unfortunately.
Well, I think one thing that people forget is that no matter who you are or your disability or your abilities or what you look like or like whatever, somebody will not like you. Somebody will find you uncomfortable. Somebody will not enjoy your presence. And I've always found that to be true. And like as an example, in school, um, I will say I am self-identified as autistic and I am officially diagnosed with ADHD, but I've always been weird and unique and quirky and just strange and people just don't know how to read me. And so in school, in school, there was like the stoner crowd or the grunge crowd, and I was a good Christian kid, but I also like wanted to hang out with those kids, like the stoner kids, because they were really cool. And I had a girl in school say, "Shannon, you're just not weird enough to hang out with us." And then in the other turn, I had the church crowd be like, "Ooh, you're so weird," and would make fun of my like unique, bright colored, double knit polyester outfits and just like this weird, like eclectic kind of dress. And so what I found in life is that somebody is going to not like who you are. And so you just have to be okay with you. And so like my thing is I just walk into a room and I'm like, "I'm here." You like me, you don't like me, you're here. And like it's like commanding attention regardless of, yeah. So it's just commanding the attention and being like, you know what, love me or hate me, whatever I have going on with me, that I am worthy and I'm good enough and I like me, the Stuart Smalley kind of thing.
Right. Well, you spend so much of your life trying to fit in and trying to find this place where you try to morph yourself to try to belong. And then you realize it's just better off just being yourself and being different. Like, it can feel lonely, but when you realize that you're just different from everyone else, when you realize you're not just some sheep and you're just following because you're like, and you see like everybody doing the same exact thing, you're like, but I don't really like that. And you stop sacrificing who you are and compromising yourself just to be like everyone else. You're like, you know what? Like, yeah, man, I may not be like so, hunky-dory about how I love myself, and man, I could be a lot better. But you know what? Like, I would rather be me than a phony. And I'd rather be me than just somebody who just does whatever, the country or social media tells you to do. Like, if I want to do a trend, I'll do a trend because I think it's funny, but I'm not going to do it just because it's going to get more people to like me. Like, you got to get over that because it's like if people like you, they like you. But there's going to be a lot of people who hate you in silence and pretend to like you on the outside. And they're going to, when you're happy, they're not. Because not everybody's going to be happy for you when you are happy. Doesn't matter how much effort you put in. Doesn't matter how hard you worked for it. There's somebody just waiting for you to slip and fall back down to where they are. And so you can't please everybody. And it is what it is.
Yeah. And I think like to be authentically yourself in a world that doesn't want you to be authentic is like the point. To feel comfortable in your skin. And it's like, there is this, I would play these affirmations for my daughter. And one of them was, how did it go? It said basically like, it's okay if people don't like me because I know that a lot of people love me. And when, people will not like our differences, that we have these chronic illnesses or there's stuff going on with us physically, but there are people that do love us and that do care about us. And it's like finding that tribe, finding that community where you're like, you can like take off your human skin, in a way, like just like these masks that we built up and like, hey, like I like you just as you are and you don't have to be anything but that.
Yeah.
And you're good enough, just like.
Right. When you're around, because you usually when you're early on with these experiences, there's very few people in your life. You probably count them on one hand where you're like, oh, they accept me for me at all times, and I can not even just because of health stuff, just anything. Like I can be my quirky self. I can tell my
Yeah.
silly, cheesy jokes. And yeah, once you start to find those people as you go on, I mean, I said this before in a previous episode where it's like, I remember like, because the summer was approaching and I started going live, and, like most of the people in my life love it hot and I hate it. And I started going live and I just started meeting all these people who also hated the summer. And I was like, oh, good, I can commiserate with you guys. Because it was like, I felt like it's so weird to feel lonely about dumb things like that. But it's just even stuff like that where you go, oh, good, I'm not the only one. Because sometimes I feel like the outlier. And it's easy to feel that way, especially when you have, if, you suffer from different disabilities and things. You start to feel like, society, because society is not made for people like us. But
No.
it's our way of we have to find our way in and make do with what we got. That's kind of what makes us so unique and special, is that we do it anyway. That's why I always
Yes.
say, like, having a disability is like trying to get into a house with no doors or no windows. It's just
Yeah.
somehow you're going to climb to the roof. You're going to be like the Kool-Aid man and jump through the wall. Like, you're going to do something by, hell or high water, you're going to get into that house. And, it's just, you got to do it your way, not like anyone else. And,
Oh yeah.
I think that's kind of the lesson in the whole thing, is so many of us, we try to do it like someone else, and we fail short every time because that's not our path. That's, I think we continue to keep running into these dead ends. And I think that's a lot of it. Instead of getting frustrated and being like, fuck, this didn't work out. Why won't anything work out for me? You just have to realize it. You're trying to open doors that are never going to open for you. It's not for you. That's not your path. Just because it was for someone else, that's not your path. And even if you end up in the same place as that person, you're not going to, take the same road as them. And,
No.
and, you can say from the outside, be like, well, man, they just were born rich. Why can't I make $1? It's like, I understand that mindset, but don't worry, because you don't know what they're lacking. You don't know, maybe the wealth is a test for them, because maybe now their path is to use their wealth and to be grateful and to help others who are less fortunate, but instead they're using their wealth for negative things. And that is, and then that is where all the karma and where life will flip up outside their head. They may have money their whole life, but they'll never find true love or happiness. So you just never know what someone has or doesn't have. It's easy from the outside to say, oh, they have it better than me. But even that mindset, if you start looking at it from like a race standpoint, you're like, I'm running this race and I'm in third place. And you're like, man, I'm not in first. I'm a failure. But if you look at the thousands of people that are chasing you just to be in third, you're like, well, fuck, maybe I don't have it that bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe third's okay.
Yeah. Well, because like society puts a lot of pressure on us to like fit into these molds, and like we have these achievements like, okay, you're a teenager, you're supposed to achieve this, and adulthood, and go off to college, and like get married, have babies, do every single thing. Like everybody has this like cookie cutter thing, and I'm like, that's boring. So like we're not meant to like do the same thing, like the uniqueness of it all. And so like if we can get out of that mindset of like, like right now, like I am 44 and I'm not where I would have expected I would be at 44.
Sure.
And I'm like, does it make me a failure? I mean, in some people's eyes, it could be, but I am where I need to be in this moment for like my own recovery process and healing and et cetera. And it's the same thing with everybody else. Like your situation might be due to different circumstances that is beneficial for you. And it's like a growth process.
Yeah, but I think, and again, I haven't known you that long, but I would say even doing this podcast is growth for you, because you're not, like you can be outspoken, but the idea of just getting on and telling your whole personal thing, like I don't think that was, again, I don't know you that well, but I don't think that was you your whole life, right?
No, because like you're supposed to be humble and quiet and not braggadocious and
right. Yeah, talking about yourself is gross, but I've noticed it in the group, and many people have said like this is not normal for me to be talking, and I'm just like, look, man, you're not going to be judged. We got you. We're here for you. And I've seen you just in moment, because your whole like fibromyalgia is really new for you. Like for some of us, it's not. Like my legally blindness is 32 years old, so it's like it's gotten old, but it's old. Like it's not anything new to me. So I can speak at it from a different perspective because I've dealt with it for so long. But everything's still new, so you're still dealing with it all. You're still like there's still a lot of healing you have to do mentally. But you're doing much better than you'll ever give yourself credit for, because I see a lot of people who are that recent to something so severe, and they aren't doing what you're doing. You know, they're not out here. They're not. And the thing is, what makes you special is that you genuinely are just friendly and fun and kind, and yet you have every reason to just be a bitch. Like you have every reason to just take your pain and just go, fuck this. I don't want to be nice to people today. But I've never heard you. And again, I don't know. I don't talk to you all the time. But and I go, look, I'm sure you have a bitchy side, right? But who doesn't? But like, look how you're giggly and laughing, and there's a part of you on the inside that's hurting, or on the outside, right? And you're still just trying to be cheerful and upbeat for the room and for anyone else, and that's kind of what makes you you. So the progress is there. Just a lot of times you don't see it because progress is so fucking slow. Because we want to snap our finger. We want to wake up tomorrow and have 3 million followers and $100,000 in our account. But the reality is like that could happen, but it's not going to happen overnight. And for you and I, like life has never been easy. So we have to earn every cent we make. We have to, every bit of progress we make, we have to fight for it. And yeah, I mean, you may not, you're going to doubt yourself and question yourself and go, oh, I'm having another bad day. Life is another setback. But no, man, it's just preparing you. It's just getting stronger. I said this the other day in a video, like, I think the reason why so many people don't make it in life, don't get what they want, is because they don't know how to be comfortable with failure. Because like for me, I failed so many fucking times, and I failed, and when I got done failing, I failed again. And then I finally started to make something of myself, and then I failed some more. But the difference is when I failed again, I actually got back up much quicker. And then, and little by little, there's some failures along the road, or just, moments where your life takes a pause, or maybe it's moving slower, but still moving in a forward direction. It's like, it's still happening. It's just, now I'm just rebounding and I'm bouncing back so much quicker, and life it's much easier to handle. It still sucks, but you just become so much stronger. And then you start to actually believe like, oh fuck, I can find love. Oh fuck, I actually like the first step is getting over like all these things that happen to you. Are they your fault? Once you get over that, that's a huge thing. Then the second, which is equally as big, is that you deserve everything you want. Because when so the one that I've been telling everybody that I'm stuck on is, I've gotten over those two. It's, will they actually happen to me? Like, can they happen to someone like me? I deserve it, but will it actually happen? Because I'm so used to just being traumatized and so used to dealing with pain and suffrage, that will it happen to me? Because I don't know many people who came out like, who, made it out like me and got the things that I got, or, got the things that I want. But at the same time, I also don't know many people who are disabled and independent. There's a lot of people I don't know who are disabled and working, disabled and dating, disabled and so on and so on. So as much as we would like to go, how could this ever happen to us? Well, look where we're at right now. It as much as it may not be home sweet home yet, it's like, man, we like in our community, the disabled community, no matter how we want to look at it, we're success stories.
Yeah.
Maybe not in our own heads, but we are success stories in our community. And that's something you got to hold on to.
Yeah. I think one thing is that what happens, I think that trips up a lot of people, is comparison.
Right.
And like for me, I am an intrinsic perfectionist. I think that comes with having ADHD, and which I believe 100% going back, I definitely have autism, because it's off for us, and it's like genetic. And so my daughter is, and there's people in my family that are. So I'm like, okay, there we go. But so having those combos of perfectionists, I have compared and used like, well, like this person as an example, I have these struggles because of the fibro and brain fog, and sometimes my articulation isn't as not my knowledge. Like sometimes I have a hard time retaining information, and I had started to get into like tarot and oracle cards, and I would watch one of my friends do it, and she just was so successful, and she had a way of knowing all the cards, the tarot cards, and all the information. And I'm just like, I want to do this, but like I don't have the confidence in doing this because like I have these setbacks. And the thing is, like, people like her because she's her. And it's like finding our confidence that I may not perform or do things at the same level as somebody else, but what I have to offer is valuable. And somebody will like what I do. And somebody will enjoy and find comfort in what I do. And it's a whole, like, not everybody likes me, but guess what? There are people that love me and will support me. And it's just ignoring the other people who I've triggered something in, you know, like,
Right.
and it's feeling okay that people don't like me and they may not like what I'm doing, but guess what? They don't have to live in my life. You know, they can close the phone and they can do something else. And I have to feel like that's okay.
Absolutely. Well, but just from me personally, I definitely like and love you, just so you know.
I appreciate, and it's ditto.
I love that we're both like, we love each other, but we're super awkward about it. Like, yeah, I'm trying to be better with that, dude. I really am, because it's like I grew up, my family was very tough love, and I got babied as a child from my mom because of being sick and stuff. But it really, like, it's just like my mom and grandma, and like we're all like, it's like we're in a, like, as the phone conversation is wrapping up, like, who's gonna say I love you first? Because it's easy to say, oh yeah, I love you too. But it's, how am I going to say I love you first? And it's like, dude, if you love somebody, like, you know, the thing is, there's a lot of people end up dying and you never told them you loved them. And it's like, you know, what if something awful happens, right? And then you're like, you never got to tell them. So it's like, I'm trying to be better with that because I genuinely do care about you. And it's like, you know, like, I don't know why it's so like, ooh, like on the inside, you're like, oh, I don't want her to think that I'm weird, but like I am fucking weird. So who cares?
Well, I think it's like people struggle with having intimacy outside of romantic relationships and with friendships.
Absolutely.
So it's like feeling comfortable, like sharing this without like not assuming that somebody has like ill intentions. And so I think, you know, from there, like we can platonically love people very deeply. And so like, I think that's a huge like part too, you know?
No, absolutely. But let's wrap up.
Okay.
I hope you had a good time. You were great.
Yes. Thank you.
Don't hang up because we'll just end this thing and then we'll finish up off the recording. But
okay.
But yeah, I mean, is there any? I mean, I know you probably don't, but do you have anything to promote? If you want to promote your social media, you can. You don't have to. You don't have to. It's fine. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
If you do.
Well, let's see. Well, I can promote my having people learn to love bugs. And enjoying nature and that kind of stuff, because like that's important. So,
that's just like, did you have anything to promote? Yeah, I promote kindness. It's like,
that's like
all right, and bugs. It's great. What a wonderful ending. Anyway, guys, we're gonna get out of here on that weird note. I like it. But we'll see you guys next week.